I have perhaps a secret to tell you. I started my career as an intern. Yes, 1989, Nairobi, Kenya. And I was assigned to the US Embassy, and I had 3 responsibilities. I spent time in the political section, looking at para-industry in the Kenyan economy. And then I moved to the political section to look at political parties and the influence on the Kenya political scene. And then I had a chance to see what we did in the consular section, and that's when I was exposed to refugees. There was a Tika reception center at the time who were processing refugees going to the United States for resettlement. And that was probably the very first exposure that I had to what then would become part of my career and passion in terms of my professional dreams. I then went to become another type of an intern, not a summer intern, where frankly I did not get paid. I had my plane ticket paid, but that was about it. I had to raise my own money to be able to sponsor it. I don't think I was unusual, and based on how we started this event, I think some of you have similar challenges. But then I jumped into a different type of an intern program, which was slightly longer. It was 2 years long, and again, a time to get exposed to a lot of different things and to think about what kind of a contribution I wanted to make and in which part of the world I wanted to make it. And that then, each time I thought, okay, maybe I'll go off and try to do something else. Maybe I go and get another master's degree that is slightly more specialized than the urban affairs and public administration degree I got. But I kept being drawn in by humanitarian action and refugee issues. And it was during that 2-year internship that I worked for UNHCR. And that was 1992, and that was in Bangladesh. And I've never looked back. And it was perhaps the best time of my early professional career. So I want to tell you that what you're doing now, I hope lasts with you for the rest of your life. You know, the work that you're contributing to the UN generally, and to think about what you want to do and how you want to contribute to the world. And I hope you get as many different experiences as you possibly can here in Geneva, but where you might go from here. And don't worry if you want to do another internship. But we are very proud at UNHCR to have interns as part of our team. You are, those amongst you, important parts of the team. And very frequently, we don't identify you as so-and-so the intern, but so-and-so a dynamic part of the UNHCR team. I would venture a guess that those of you that are coming from other agencies would have supervisors, mentors, other team members that would say the same thing. You're doing critical work for the world in terms of the contribution that you're making to multilateralism, and we thank you. We know that what you're doing is far beyond the means and what we're able to contribute to be able to show how much we appreciate you. But this is why I think this kind of action in the UN that is undergoing some change now is a very good thing. Some of you may know that I'm the vice chair of the High-Level Committee on Management, which is the body of the CEB, the Executives Board that the Secretary General chairs with all the heads of agencies of every UN agency. All of your big bosses participate in the CEB. And then there are these committees underneath that make things move. So the management piece is where, in fact, the Fair Intern Initiative was able to have a voice. Certainly the last HLCM meeting, and then this HLCM meeting, we took the action to actually adopt a way forward in terms of how we were going to address and look at some of the proposals that the Fair Intern Initiative had put on the table, which were very important. Doesn't mean that we have a common system approach yet, but it means that we're taking a step forward. And sometimes we are a little bit slower as a system than we'd like to be, but we're starting to see actions. From UNHCR's perspective, this is very important, and in fact, it was some of the other agencies that really inspired us to take action and put together what we call an administrative instruction last February, which provided at least some initial support, transportation, food vouchers, a little something to help, because we realized how difficult it is, particularly in a city like Geneva, to find the wherewithal to be able to both pay your rent, contribute through your hours at the office, and be able to feed yourselves and get yourselves here. So it's at least one step forward, but there are other steps. You know, from our perspective, as I mentioned, many of you will go on, you'll have fantastic careers in lots of different places. This is an investment in you. So from that perspective too, we can see why we need to be making sure your experiences are as diverse as possible and as positive as possible. And so we will take further steps going down the line and see how, in fact, we can further invest in the program. From our perspective, this is also an important opportunity to be acquainted with UNHCR and perhaps come back and work for us full-time in the future. 73% of the interns that work for UNHCR are women. 70% of the interns that work for UNHCR are working in their home countries. So many of you are quite fortunate to be here in Geneva, but we know you're going to go back and do amazing things with what you choose to do, either with your education or your career. So thank you for your contributions. You can depend on us in terms of pushing forward issues you've put on the political table. Thanks for being here today, and I hope you get something out of the people that are around the room to talk to you. Thanks.